And here are our research questions. The first one, what are the students' perceptions and attitudes concerning using podcasts as language learning objects and aids? And we have a sub-question for this. What are students' perceptions concerning the usefulness of podcasts and related tasks for language learning? What are the effects of podcasts on learners' self-confidence? And the second question was, what difficulties do students encounter when learning English with language learning podcasts? And question, how many times do students listen to each podcast? And second question, what factors affect the amount of listening? Well, this is, you can see a summary of the design of the research. Our sampling strategy was convenience sampling and also quota sampling. Convenience sampling to gather quantitative data, and also quota sampling together to collect qualitative data. The participants were 187 freshmen and 16 freshmen, and data collection tools were a podcast evaluation form, which was given to 187 participants after each podcast. And also a face-to-face, we also conducted face-to-face interviews with 16 participants. The data analysis tools were content analysis and descriptive. We used descriptive statistics to analyze our data. The syllabus was, it was task-based. Learners listened to podcasts, listened to 3 sections of each podcast each week, and then they did related tasks. And each podcast was 24 minutes, and it had 7 sections, but we covered only 3 sections in a week. And now the results, the findings of this study. Here you see the participants' perceptions about podcasts and podcast-based course. I don't want to read all, just I would like to underline the most important ones. Well, the lowest perception, or the most negative perception, was about listening to the podcasts and feeling competent. And this is the lowest, but overall, the mean scores can be accepted as high. In fact, the perceptions are not so negative. We can conclude that. And the highest one was about their belief that listening to podcasts and doing related tasks can enhance their language learning. This is the seventh item. So you can see in red, the 4th item in red was the lowest, and the 7th one in green was the highest. And actually the same results, the same findings, but in a different figure so that you can see better. As you see in item 7, thank you. In item 7, you can see that the perceptions were the most positive, and for item 4, and you remember what it was the lowest. And now participants' perceptions concerning the usefulness of podcasts for different skills in language learning. And we can see that participants believed that they were the most useful for listening. And of course this was not a surprise for us, because it mainly included listening and doing related tasks, of course. And they believed that listening to podcasts had the least effect on participation, or maybe they believed that it did not have much effect on participation to the courses. And you can see the effect of podcasts on other skills are mainly positive. You can see the mean score here. You can see second column. Yeah. As you see, they are mainly high, so we can see that their perceptions were mostly positive. And another figure for the same results, for these results, it's better to see here. As you see, for listening, they believe that participants believe that podcasts were most effective for listening and the least effective for participation. And their perceptions about the usefulness of podcast-based tasks. As I said, they not only listened to podcasts, but they also did related tasks. And we have similar results here. Overall, the perceptions are positive, and they believe that the most podcasts had, or podcast-related tasks had, the most influence on their vocabulary acquisition, vocabulary learning. And the least effect was on participation. And the same results as well here. You can see that it affected their vocabulary learning the most. And now I would like to summarize the results that the findings that we got from the qualitative data. Well, through content analysis techniques, we just analyzed the qualitative data, and we just came up with some teams. And the first team was the role of podcasts in language learning, and participants mostly believed that they were effective. As you see, we turn the qualitative data into quantitative data. As you see, 63.9% of learners, or actually we cannot say that 63.9% of learners, but this is the percentage of their citing, their saying positive adjectives, using positive adjectives. It's not a percentage about the participants, but we just counted the positive adjectives, and we just came up with a result. And we can easily see that they believe that podcasts were effective. And the second theme was the effect of podcasts on self-confidence in language learning. Here you can see that mostly they believe that they had positive effects on self-confidence. And I think we don't have much time, so just I put some quotations. I put here some sentences that participants reported during interviews. Okay, thanks. So team 3 that just emerged was difficulties encountered when learning English with podcasts. And the first one was fast speech. Participants found the podcast to be fast for them to understand. And the second one was unintelligible explanations. At the end of each podcast, there were some grammatical explanations, and they found them to be unintelligible. The fourth one was the amount of listening, and this was also very important for us. So more than half of the participants reported that they did only few repetitions, less than 5 times a week. And this was surprising for us because it was very important in the study. And of course we asked about the reasons behind listening to podcasts only several times. And these are the factors that affected the amount of listening. Other courses, the highest with the highest percentage was other courses. They said we have lots of courses and we cannot spare time for listening to podcasts. Lack of motivation, aversion, lack of concentration, holidays and exams were other factors that were cited during the interviews. And the sixth theme was evaluations and views concerning podcasts that were covered by the program. They reported that podcasts were interesting. This is about the content of podcasts, the topics that were covered in the podcast. They found them interesting, some participants also said that they were good and up to date, etc. Very few students find them difficult because they were just the right level for students. Okay. Time is up, right? 1 minute, okay, yeah. And the suggestions for using podcasts to teach or to learn languages, they reported that they should do more repetitions and more listening, and I think we can combine these because doing repetitions and listening can be accepted as the same thing, but there is a distinction here, there is a difference. They did repetitions when they listen. It's not only listening to podcasts repetitively. They repeated the words when listening, and that's why we put two different categories here. They also suggested using podcasts for grammar teaching, etc. All right, I would like to just sum up what I have said. Well, we found out that podcasts can be used in language teaching effectively, but learners might need teacher support and teacher guidance, and the courses should be planned very well. These are the things that we can gather from their evaluations. And thank you very much.